Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith, and on this channel, we discuss everything financial literacy. Now, today, we're going to be taking a look at the $50,000 personal loan with Navy Federal. This particular loan does not require any documentation, which is why I think it is so popular with people. It's just stated income. Now, I've covered a few Navy Federal products recently. We looked at the flagship, we looked at the pledge loan, and this is a loan that I actually did put in the application for. I did qualify for. I ended up not taking it. So I did want to go over some of the pros, some of the cons of this loan, but overall, anyone can really qualify with this. Technically, there is no credit score criteria. However, I'm going to actually give you some information and data points where, even though it doesn't state that there is a criteria, I do believe that there is one. I'll also give you some tips at the end where if you have bad credit right now, what you can do to potentially qualify for this loan. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is some of the cons. I want to give some warnings, and I also just want to make sure that you're cautious about getting this loan. The next thing that we're going to be looking at is some data points and application information. Then we're going to be looking at some personal loan details. I'll also give you those tips, and then I will show you how you can apply for this loan on the Navy Federal website. The reason why I want you to be cautious with this loan is because at this time, the interest rates that we currently have are extremely high. So if you're getting this loan at $50,000, I'm going to actually show you what that looks like when we actually go through the application process. I just want you to see exactly how much this loan is, what you're paying for interest, and exactly what that's going to cost you overall. So if you're not able to pay back this loan, I recommend that you should just wait. Just hold off. I mean, if you can't pay back a loan, you shouldn't be getting a loan in the first place, of course. But what I'm saying is, if it's not just the loan and it's the interest that you also are worried about, my recommendation is to wait for rates to go down. Let yourself be put into a better position to succeed as opposed to just getting this loan because it's a little more easily accessible. Now, my recommendation, brainstorm. You need to have an idea about what you're going to do with this loan before you even think about applying for it. So if you're going to be using this loan for business purposes, my recommendation, leverage business credit. There's alternatives. There's credit cards, 0% APR, balance transfer cards if you want to move some stuff around. But if this is the option that you want to go with, if it's for something personal, there's actually a few different types of loans that Navy Federal offers. Personal expense loans can be for, they list like auto, they list a few other options for what you could potentially use this loan for. You could really use it for anything, but they give you some options that they would see the situation that would call for it. They also have home improvement loans, separately auto loans. There are specific loans that they have which should reach the criteria that you need for what you're doing. So just have an idea about what it is that you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and have an exit strategy. Let's say, this doesn't work out, and for whatever reason, you're not getting the return that you thought that you would get for this loan, whether that be an investment, personal, whatever the case may be. Have an exit strategy to get this loan paid off and put yourself in the best position to win. Okay. And again, I can't tell you exactly how you do that. That's going to be up to you to figure out. Just before you get it, just make sure that you're in the best position to benefit from this, and don't have it become something that will get you in trouble or potentially ruin your good credit history. Or if you've been in the process of rebuilding, you don't want to have to go back to doing that again. So, let's just all be careful before we actually get this loan. Now, here are the features of the Navy Federal personal loan, and this is called the personal expense loan. When you go on the website, this is what it's going to be listed under. So the features: it's simplified financing for unplanned and planned expenses. From the website, they say it's good for auto repairs, moving and relocating, vacations, and other major purchases. Now, on this channel, we leverage things like this in order to make money. At least, that'd be the hope. So it can be really used for anything, but these are just some of the things that they list as a good reason to actually use this loan. Now, $250 to $50,000 is the loan amount that you can get for this loan with no documentation. You have terms that go up to 36 months, and this is the current APR to date, 8.99% to 18%. In my opinion, this is extremely high. I don't like it. It's way too high. If you have a plan though, and you know how you can get your return on this in a very fast manner, or the return is going to be much higher than what it cost for the APR, that might make sense for you. So I'm not saying that it wouldn't. I don't think it's favorable terms, but it doesn't mean that it can't make sense for you. It just all depends on what you're doing. They also have 37 to 60 months, which can be from 15.24% to 18%. So if you're going for 37 months, it locks you in at 15.24%. Now, this is to date. These rates are subject to change. You need to check. At the time of this recording, these are the rates. I'm going to put a link in the description so you can actually click on that right now and you can check what the current rates are. If this is 6 months from now, these rates may be different. They may be higher, they may be lower. If this is a year from now, you definitely want to check these rates because there may be very favorable terms for you depending on, where you are. But again, the shorter the term, the better the interest. The longer the term, the higher the interest rate. You'll have to decide whether or not it makes sense for you and your situation. Now, here are some data points when it comes to this personal loan. This is all stated income. That's probably one of the best things about this loan. It's no documentation that's required. You don't need paycheck stubs. You don't need tax returns to apply for this. You'll receive a decision within minutes. And once you do have that decision, you'll sign a promissory note that's sent to you. Your funds will be automatically deposited into your account in as little as 24 hours. For the people who did receive this loan, I've seen that they got the funds within, 10, 20 minutes. It's in their account. It's ready to go. Now, even though that Navy Federal says there is no credit requirements for this actual loan, I would say your best options for favorable interest rates and favorable terms, you should have at least a 660 to a 680 FICO score. That's going to be a hard pull from TransUnion. I believe they pull your TransUnion FICO 9. So another big thing about this loan, they look at your job history. The longer your job history, the better. You look a lot more stable if you have a long history. And you also want to check your current annual salary. If you are a current member of Navy Federal, which if you're looking at this loan, you do have to be a member in order to actually access this, you can update your annual income. My recommendation before applying, update it. If you want to update it, then wait 24 hours, do that. But you do want to make sure that you have your salary. And I would recommend having 5 or more years of work history when you apply for the loan. Put that on the loan. They also ask for your employer's address, your employer's phone number, and some information about your employer. Now, when you're stating the income, another thing that you can, we'll get to that, but you just want to make sure that I would say you have a good debt to income ratio. Because again, if you have credit cards, other products with Navy Federal, they can see it. And they can also see how much money you have in your account. So they can take a look at how much money that you have in the account. What has your average balance been? They can see how much money has gone in, come out. So they kind of already know exactly what they're working with based off of what's in the account. Okay. There is no prepayment penalty. So that's one great thing about this. There's the interest for this loan. It compounds daily. If you like to pay off this loan soon, you are able to do so. Only one personal loan is allowed at this time. Only one personal loan. Let's say you wanted to get more. If you had a joint applicant for this loan, they also have to be a member of Navy Federal. You can get up to $150,000. They might ask you for documentation. So if you did want to get up to that amount, just know that you could jointly with another member. But then up to 150,000, and it is subject to documentation. You can also have a co-signer on the loan, if you so choose, but that's only if you deem it necessary. If you can, I would try to get it on my own if possible. This is the application checklist. Before you apply, we want to make sure that we have all this information put together. So, how much do you want to borrow for your loan? How long do you plan to finance this loan? Your current employment and income, including your employer's name and contact information, want to have that all together. Your contact information, including your phone number, your email. If you like your loan documents sent to an address other than your address or what's on record of Navy Federal, then you want to call. That's important. Information about your co-applicant, if that's applicable to you. If you do decide to have a co-applicant, their date of birth, their address, their phone number, their email, their income, their employer, their social, and then their Navy Federal Credit Union access number. So all this information is required. You want to make sure that you have it before you apply for this personal loan. Now, before I said I would give you 3 tips for approval if you have bad credit. Let's be honest. You can't just qualify with bad credit, but there are some strategies that you can put into place that can increase your chances of getting this loan. Now, if you have bad credit, but you have Navy Federal, this is a bank that is based off of relationships. Navy Federal does have internal scoring models, and it ranges to as high as 450. You want to at least be over a 250. That will increase your chances of approval. Now, you can do that by setting up your direct deposit. That will increase your chances. And the more money that you have coming into the account will give assurance that you can actually pay back this loan. So if you don't have a direct deposit set up, I would consider setting that up now, at least for, let's say, 90 days, letting money come in there, because the more money that comes in there, the more history of deposits, the more it looks like, oh, this person has enough income going through this account where we're sure that they can pay back this loan. That helps. It'll also raise your internal score. You can add household income. So you can include the total income that the household brings in, not just your own personal income. And loans are approved based on your debt to income ratio. So check this out. If you have someone that you live with, they don't even have to be added as a co-applicant. You just have your spouse, roommate, someone that you're cohabitating with. You can add their income to your application. So if you guys are both making $60,000, you can put $120,000 for your annual income. That's something that can definitely help. If you have a friend or family member that can add you on as an authorized user to one of their aged accounts, this can also help with your payment history and can increase your credit score. When I first started my channel, there's a video where I talk about this. It actually has to do with getting an auto loan with bad credit. I include Navy Federal as one of the places that you can get the auto loan with. There are places where you can purchase trade lines that are aged, that have good account history, high credit limits. Those can greatly boost your score. So you can look at one, if you have a family member or friend, they don't have to give you a credit card. You can just ask them, hey, can you add me on to your account? Let it report after like 30 to 45 days. Once it reports, it will boost your credit score. Once you're able to do that, if you have any, other things that work like credit builders, additional things like that, use as many resources that you have, get your score as high as you can possibly get it. Your TransUnion one, of course, in particular, because that's where they pull for this loan, and then go and apply. What I can do is I'll link that video. Let me get the time. I'll link the video so that you can see. It's one where I talk about all the trade lines that you can get, and also talk about that strategy in order to increase your credit score if it's bad fairly quickly. That way you just become more favorable in terms of getting this loan. And so do these 3 things if you can. Definitely add the household income, direct deposit, Those are very, two easy things that you can do if this applies to you. Authorized user, if you can do that as well, it won't hurt that person. I mean, it can hurt you only if they have late payments or their utilization is high, then don't do it. But if it's someone who's responsible and they don't mind adding you on, again, they don't have to give you a card. You never have access to the account. It's just so all of their good payment history can report to your credit report, boosting your score. And when it's done and you get approved for the loan, just remove you. It's that easy. All right. So with that said, let's now go ahead and go to the Navy Federal website. I'm going to show you step by step how to apply for this personal loan. So right now we are on the Navy Federal website. You can go to the very top. You'll see an option that says loans, and there are different loans here: mortgage rates, pre-approval, finance, auto. Plenty of different loans here. What we're going to do is look for our personal loan. And then here we go, personal loans. All right. And then just like before, these are the terms. These are the interest rates. You'll always want to check here first before you apply. Here's the personal loan. Here's the home improvement loan. As you can see, the terms here go to a little bit longer. They go to 180 months here. $25,000 is the minimum loan. So, if you were doing something for home improvement, that was the purpose. You may want to consider doing this one instead. You do have to call for this one or to visit a branch. You cannot do this one online. There's a debt consolidation loan if you're looking to consolidate. It's pretty much the exact same rates. It doesn't really change there. The amount of months is the exact same as the personal expense loan. So really not that different. You can call for this one as well, or you can apply in a branch. There's the savings secured loan, the certificate secured loan. Those are closer to our pledge loans. That is all the different personal loans that they offer, but we are going to be looking at the personal expense loan, and then we click on apply now. All right. In order to apply, you will need to already be a member with Navy Federal and have access to your online account. So we're going to get logged in here. All right, so I slightly scrolled down, but at the very top of the loan, it just asks you to confirm your personal information. So it had my first name, last name, my address, my phone number, my email address. You just want to confirm that all that information is correct and does not need to be changed. Then it asks you to tell us about your finances. You want to put your employment status. I would just say private employer, unless you're active duty military. You're a government employee. You can also put self-employed, but I recommend just doing the private employer. And then you can put the name of your employer here. So whoever your current employer is, just add that information. You'll then want to add the length of employment. Again, I would say 5 years is really good. So hopefully you have that time frame with that employer. And then your total annual income. So for the total annual income, again, if you have something that you can add for your household, I would add that. When you do add that, it's before taxes, and it breaks down what your monthly income would actually be. So as you can see here, they're taking all this into account when you're applying for this loan. That's the reason why they're breaking it down. They want you to actually know how much you have coming in. And again, it's about debt to income. When we get down to where we're asking for the loan, they're going to show you how much the loan is monthly. And they're going to look at how much money you make monthly, how much the loan is, to see if it actually makes sense, to see if, you're able to pay it. So right here, it tells you may include your wages, your retirement benefits, public assistance, and income from investments or rental properties. And you do not have to reveal alimony, child support, or separate maintenance income unless you want it considered as a basis for repayment. In order to use certain types of income, and established history or evidence of continuance may be required. So just letting you know that they may end up needing information depending on what's put. Now, housing type. You can do you own, free and clear, you own, paying a mortgage, renting, whatever it is that you're currently doing. If you have rent, they're going to ask for the amount. If you're own, free and clear, there will not be one to enter. But just keep in mind that as you are doing this application, This is just a calculation. They're going monthly income. What's your housing expense? That's for most of us, that's the biggest expense. This one, they're going to minus that one, and they're using this information to determine what it is that you can qualify for. So as you're putting it in, you're kind of telling them everything that they need to qualify you or disqualify you. If you have a co-borrower, that's optional. Then you can add them, same information that we talked about before. You will need their access number, the date of birth, name, their social, their address, their phone number, their employer contact information. All of that's going to be needed for you to add them as a co-borrower. And then provide a loan amount and then select a term. So let's say that we're selecting $50,000, right? And let's just do the longest term because that's going to give us, I just want to go, this is all highest interest rate, longest term. 15.29% will be the lowest that you could possibly pay to around 18%. Look at your estimated monthly payment, $1,209.64. And it can range from this to $1,285. So just going back, if I had rent and my rent was going to be, let's say $1,800 a month, we have that. And let's say that I was only making $80,000 a year. So they would deduct this, and they would also deduct this to see how much I'm making to determine what my debt to income ratio is. So again, you're telling them your debt to income ratio. So what you put can qualify you or disqualify you. It also can be determined by how much money is in your account. So again, you want to take all this into consideration when you're filling this out. You're providing the information that lets them know if you can or you cannot pay back this loan. Of course, I would put in the exact information because sometimes this could be saving you from yourself. If it doesn't make sense, it just doesn't make sense. That may be your best protection. All right. And then you want to tell them where you want to fund it. So if you have a savings account, this is my membership shared savings, nothing in there. So I'm just going to leave this account the way it is. And then you can put the disclosure information. So before you submit your application, please read through these important disclosures. You would then consent to, of course, the credit pool and then the loan application accuracy the certification disclosure. And it says you previously read and agreed the e-sign disclosure. You would then submit the application. Once this application is submitted, again, within minutes, you'll know if you're approved. You will know if you are denied. So if you are denied, that's okay. I have videos on how to remove hard inquiries. You can check that out. You can remove the hard inquiry. No harm, no foul. You'll want to go ahead, go back to the drawing board and consider, hey, 1, do I need this loan? 2, why didn't I qualify? Think about the information that you just typed in. Did that make sense? Did that make sense for the bank? Would that make sense for someone if they were trying to get a loan repaid with favorable terms for this person to be able to, you want to consider all of that. If it seems to make sense, if your income made sense, if your history with your job makes sense, you're stable, you're making enough money, you're making more than what your rent is and the expenses would be, you have the deposit that's direct into your account. If it's everything, and I would call them to find out maybe an exact detail of maybe why you didn't get it. Other than that, if it's something that has to do with credit, your credit report is basically your report card on how well you pay back. So if you have the income, everything else looks good, but for some reason you're not paying people back based off of that, that doesn't quite make sense that you're making enough money to pay everything, but you're just choosing not to pay someone back. That, of course, is a red flag. You'll want to work on that to get that information cleaned up. Plenty of videos on here. Please check them out and take care of the things that you can take care of as fast as possible. Use those tips that I gave to help increase your score even further, and then try again, but other than that, this is the entire process of this personal loan. Again, everything is stated. No documentation is required. So that is good. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you are someone who is looking to get this personal loan, then, drop a comment. Let me know if you were able to get approved Are these terms favorable for you? If you want to share with what you plan to do for that loan, then, please share that information. Other than that, I have a video on the flagship credit card that you can check out. I've done a recent video on the pledge loan if you want to see that. In one of my older videos, I talk about how to get the auto loan with Navy Federal if you have bad credit. And I'll probably link some of those videos here, the description, or at the end of the video. Appreciate you guys so much. This community is great. Again, I mean, it's just so awesome. So thank you for watching once again, and you guys have a wonderful day.